Compulsory Military Service, Philosophy 101, Section 9, presented by yours truly, Kayla Jock. So, in my view, compulsory military service presents a difficult balance between national security and individual freedom. While I understand the argument that every citizen should contribute to the protection and stability of their country, I believe true moral responsibility cannot be forced. When people are compelled to serve, their actions may fulfill national needs, but they don't necessarily reflect genuine commitment or patriotism. Voluntary service, on the other hand, respects personal autonomy and allows individuals to choose how they wish to contribute to society. And ethics. So, Immanuel Kant's moral philosophy is based on duty and categorical imperative, which commands individuals to act only according to principles they believe to be universal laws. Kant also insists that humans must never be treated merely as means to an end. He wrote, act so that you treat humanity, whether in your own person or in that of another, always as an end and never merely as a means. From this perspective, compulsory military service is ethical, problematic because it is used citizens as instruments for the state's defense goals, disregarding their autonomy. For example, during the Vietnam War, many American conscripts were forced to fight in a war they morally opposed, leading to a protest and ethical outrage. Kant would argue that such coercion violates human dignity even if the goal is noble. Moral duty must be freely chosen, not imposed. Aristotle believed that moral behavior is about developing virtue and achieving eudaimonia, a flourishing life through balanced moral character. According to Aristotle, we become just as doing just acts, tempered by doing tempered acts, brave by doing brave acts. From this view, serving one's nation could foster virtues such as courage, discipline, and loyalty. In countries like Israel, military service is seen as a moral duty that strengthens citizens' character and unity. However, Aristotle also valued rational choice and voluntary moral action. Virtue, he argued, must come from intentional choice, not coercion. Forced service may build discipline, but it undermines moral growth when individuals act under compulsion rather than conviction. Thus, Aristotle might view compulsory military service as partially virtuous, but morally incomplete. Utilitarian ethics, utilitarianism, developed by philosophers like Jeremy Bentham and John Stuart Mills, holds that the right action is the one that produces the greatest happiness for the greatest number. Bentham famously wrote, it is the greatest happiness of the greatest number that is measured of right and wrong. From a utilitarian standpoint, compulsory military service might be justified if it ensures national safety and social stability. For instance, during World War II, the U.S. draft allowed the country to build a defense strong enough to protect millions and eventually restore peace. Yet, if conscription leads to psychological harm, loss of life, and resentment, the suffering may outweigh the benefits. In modern times, many nations have shifted from voluntary armies, suggesting that freedom and moral produce better overall outcome. Therefore, utilitarianism would support compulsory service only if it clearly maximizes collective well-being. So, in my view, compulsory military service presents a difficult balance between national security and individual freedom. While I understand the argument that every citizen should contribute to the protection and stability of their country, I believe true moral responsibility cannot be forced. When people are compelled to serve, their actions may fulfill national needs, but they don't necessarily reflect genuine commitment or patriotism. Voluntary service, on the other hand, respects personal autonomy and allows individuals to choose how they wish to contribute to society. In today's world, where technology, diplomatic, and humanitarian roles are just as important as military ones, citizens can meaningfully support their nation in many ways without sacrificing their freedom or moral agency. For these reasons, I feel that compulsory military service often creates more ethical challenges than solutions. Conclusion: compulsory military service raises important ethical issues about virtue, utility, and human dignity. Aristotle's Ethics suggests that while service may build positive character traits, moral value loses meaning when it is coerced. Utilitarianism, also conscription, only when it clearly produces greater overall good, a condition not always met in modern society. Kantian ethics strongly challenges the practice by arguing that forced service treats individuals as tools rather than autonomous moral agents. Taking these perspectives together, compulsory military service appears ethical, uncertain, and content dependent. Although it may provide national benefits, it also risks violating personal freedom and moral integrity. Ultimately, a society functions best when its citizens serve from genuine conviction, not obligation. Thank you.
Thank you.